Welcome to Not Filmography Fridays. We're going to try something new this week. We'll try and make the schedule a little less stagnant and boring, both for us and for you. So every other week, instead of a Filmography Friday, what we're going to do is a Filmography Friday, a Still in Cinema Saturday, we'll call it.
And I know you might be thinking, fucking bullshit!
It's just so you can get some things, like if you want to go see a theater movie or anything, you have some recommendations from us. I know a lot of other YouTubers in our genre do this. So yeah, this week we're doing, for Still in Cinema Saturdays, we're doing Ghostbusters, the female-led Ghostbusters that just recently came out. I feel like there's a negative reception to this that's never going to go away, and I almost guarantee we will get hate comments for what our opinion is. That's not saying we enjoyed the movie thoroughly, for the record. So let's just hop right into it as with that as a lead-in.
Well, I'm going to give a disclaimer. For anybody who doesn't want to watch the fucking video because you're an asshole, to me it's a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd say maybe 6.5, yeah, around that area.
It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it's alright.
Is it criminally incompetent? No. Is it neglectful in areas? Absolutely.
Does it have rapid succession comedy moments? Miss, hit.
Oh, there's a good one.
Miss, hit.
Oh, another one. That's kind of how I felt this movie going. At least more so in the beginning. And I didn't feel that with Paul Feig's other movies like Bridesmaids, The Heat. When you see them, it doesn't feel like, oh, let's just try and get all these jokes off because we have to have one of them hit.
This doesn't feel like anybody really wanted to do this. It was just sort of done because Sony had a license.
I think Paul Feig did want to do it, but I think he added too much of his own Feigisms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There are plenty of segments it just doesn't feel like Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Other moments that are nice and are genuine throwbacks and whatnot, but then
some of those throwbacks try a little too hard.
Yeah, they try a little too hard, but then there's moments like Kate McKinnon and the action sequence with like the energy
at
whips.
The end. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, that's just not Ghostbusters.
I, without a doubt, think the two people who stole this movie, and I'll name one, you'll name the other because we know both of them. Kate McKinnon.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Though I didn't think Chris Hemsworth was going to be funny in the movie. I didn't think he was going to serve any ultimate purpose, and it was just... He's one of the funnier parts of the movie.
It's actually funny because if you go back to Ghostbusters, the secretary played such a non-existent role.
Yeah,
other than we got one.
I don't typically like blithering idiot characters, but he's just funny.
There's little things in this.
Nothing but funny.
And what's funny is he actually made the rapid fire work because there's that whole coffee scene. Yeah, I was just about to bring that up.
Coffee.
He comes in and Abby, played by Melissa McCarthy, she asks for coffee. So he brings it in being a failure, and she just basically...
Did you put the sugar in it this time?
Okay. So, oh god. So first of all, he's a failure. That's the joke. The second part, he takes a sip, is an asshole. Oh, okay. Spits it up. Oh, now he ruined the coffee. I hate coffee. And walks away.
I love that.
Genius layering in that. Again, the layering seems to be a problem where we have, very much so in the beginning, all these jokes are just, as he said, hit, miss, hit, miss, hit. And you have so many jokes for so many different people in the audience laughing, and I know that because sitting in the theater, this person laughed at this joke, this person laughed at this joke, this one person laughed at this joke.
There was an occasional one where it's just like most people it doesn't hit, and then there's like the few where it hit for everybody except me.
You could tell that each person was laughing at a different type of comedy. Like when a specific comedy hit with intelligence comedy, like in the wording and actually crafting a fun joke, like Hemsworth with some of his stupidity.
Hemsworth's stupidity stuff. That's the ironic thing, is his stupidity elements were like some of the most clever shit in the movie.
I completely agree with that.
I was like, yeah, there was so much to that joke just now, and I don't understand how they did it.
But it's funny because we would laugh at stuff like that, then someone else would laugh at the vagina jokes. Because if you want to take your kid to a Ghostbusters movie, that's actually where I have some problems with this movie. As I said, they cater to so many comedic audiences, so many different comedic genres, that it's 90% of the jokes might not hit with you. Maybe only 10%. Someone else might get 70%.
And it's part of why I hope the movie does, in fact, commercially fail.
I kind of hope it does well because we had the remnants of a possible good movie, and now that we have people like Chris Hemsworth on the team, we can have an actual balance of male and female. That being said, I want to talk more about the characters. Kate McKinnon, we mentioned, is phenomenally funny. She comes in
part of the movie.
She comes in kind of out of nowhere after like a lull in the two main characters' friendship, And she just comes in and starts stealing lines from line 1 to the end of the movie where they know they had a good thing in her because she's the only one that got, like, a focused action sequence at the end. You know what I'm saying, right?
She was so not what's-his-name's character while being his character.
Harold Ramis?
Yeah, it was Harold. She's basically Harold Ramis' character, but, like, she's like a frat boy. Yeah. When you think about her attitude, she's just like a frat boy.
She'll come and smack you in the ass and then just be like, good job,
She's
buddy.
a frat boy, but with science and ghosts. And it was just such an odd thing to see for me.
Which is funny because then you juxtapose the guy who I would think would be playing a frat boy type, and it's, again, we've talked about him, Chris Hemsworth, playing this stupid...
He's playing a stupid pretty boy.
But that's the thing, his prettiness gets him through life, so that's like the underlining joke with his character. He's so pretty that he doesn't have to do anything.
You know, why didn't...
I'm not gonna lie, I like Kristen Wiig's play on that. Like the whole, oh, he's hot, so I'm gonna hire him.
Yeah,
which is done frequently.
hire him just to look at him.
Yeah, but she does it in a way that's Kristen Wiiggy, so it's actually funny. But I think the...
Wiggy.
Yeah.
Wiggy.
Yeah, Wiggy. She's pretty good in this movie. I do think she's playing a role that's very reserved, which is the problem, since Kristen Wiig is a very powerful, decent actress.
That's the thing. I don't think anybody else would have been able to play that character.
I agree with that, too.
Melissa McCarthy can't play that character because...
Melissa McCarthy can't play the character she's playing, unfortunately.
But more specifically, it's also Kristen Wiig has a history now of, like... What was that movie she did with Bill Hader?
Skeleton Twins.
Yeah, and
phenomenally
phenomenal movie, and they do a
movie.
great job, so props to them. And obviously, she's going to play a character that only she can play.
Yo, get Bill Hader in the next one as one of the male Ghostbusters if you're going to expand the team. I think this was her big break, and I think they knew what they had in her because she gets more and more throughout the movie.
Every trailer should have just been her or Chris Hemsworth. Every single trailer. Because those that's something
Most criminally...
That's something...
The biggest injustice in this movie is... Yeah.
I said this at the end of the movie. I was like, well, that wasn't so bad. Why were the trailers shitty? And I thought about it, and it's probably because, like, they knew all the best jokes they didn't want to spoil. So they just sort of threw all the misses into the trailers. And, yeah the trailers really don't do this movie any justice. Again, it's not a phenomenal movie. It's like a 6 at best. The
pacing suffers because I think of rewrites, potential moving around. There's just... It feels very weirdly paced. Like, we just meet Kristen Wiig, and then we're getting to know her life. Very small amounts of time. Then we automatically... throw her back into her old ways with Abby and Kate McKinnon, and then they just find Patty. Patty's thrust in weird. The way it all just kind of melds is funky to me.
On that note, I'm going to add up the character inconsistency. Kristen Wiig's character, what was it, Patty?
No, Patty was Leslie Jones.
Patty was Leslie Jones. I can't remember the fucking name.
Erin.
Yeah, she, so basically, it starts out, she finds out about the book she wrote with her friend Abby.
Which I actually like as an intro.
Which she regrets writing because it's going to destroy her career.
Great setup.
Which, obviously, ultimately it does.
Logical, great setup.
Charles Dance as her...
What the fuck?!
But, basically, ruins her career, she gets fired, but then later on you find out the whole reason she even had an interest in ghosts was because when she was a kid, she was haunted by one for a year and had to go to therapy.
Gave that up pretty quick to go to your high school career.
Yeah, it's like we didn't get any passing mention of that or anything. Nothing to hint to that. And when that comes late enough in a movie, that's kind of an important thing to be inconsistent about.
And this is in the second third they reveal that whole thing
like
with
that,
Kristen Wiig.
That's something like, at the very least, you should have showed a segment right in the beginning of the movie where she was a child and then had it revisited later. But no, you don't. You just it just sort of felt like...
You don't even need to go back in time. You could just have conversation between Abby and her. Like, remember, do you forget why you fell in love with this?
Something as a passing mention. Yeah. And you don't get that, so therefore it just sort of feels like it was thrown in there.
This movie goes out of its way to show multiple people. That's cameos from the old Ghostbusters cast. That's people that are apparently still culturally relevant, like Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah.
What the? That's like 10 years too late.
I mean, that Ghostbusters was what, the 70s? Maybe Ozzy wasn't it? I don't remember, but...
I know Ron Jeremy and people were in the crowd gathering around New York City, so there was a lot of weird,
But one thing I just want to point out, as you said with the cameos, on one, like, they had so many, And on one end, it's
Kind of
cool, but on another end, it's what I said earlier about all the jokes. It's.
I also think that they go out of their way to derail the movie for certain cameos.
And
them going to the secretary, that we got one, that didn't need to happen.
Yeah.
Bill Murray really didn't need to happen.
No.
That was a spit in the face, man.
The secretary, I was like, such an insignificant character getting a cameo.
I mean, it's nice. It was cool.
But it was nice, and I appreciate it because it was smaller compared to everything else.
But when you have such well-written ones like Ernie Hudson, who the entire movie they're like, Patty's uncle, Patty's uncle, Patty's uncle, and then at the end they reveal it's Ernie Hudson. Yeah. That was a great cameo.
That's a
great cameo.
Yeah, Aykroyd. Bill Murray, just the worst cameo in the movie, honestly.
And you choose to put him as the anti-ghost person who's trying to disprove everything, and it... boy.
Yeah, it's like he laughs at the... And I was just like...
And then dies! And then dies!
Yeah,
like 2 minutes later!
And then dies. And as opposed to Aykroyd, of all people, having one of the better cameos in the movie, where he's just acting like a typical New Yorker and ends the phrase, and I ain't afraid of no ghost, drives off. I was just like...
Sorry.
I cried at that.
Sorry, Kristen Wiig. I got vodka to sell. Slimer. I actually loved it. Can we call that a cameo? That's just a return at that point, isn't it?
It's just a return.
Yeah. Slimer, I actually really enjoyed Slimer. The Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, you can argue, is a cameo.
Yeah.
But that brings a question. Does that mean Ghostbusters exist in this world?
Kate McKinnon made that scene great, too.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, this is exactly how I imagined I'd die.
The idea, some of their ideas trying to tie to the older movies, piggybacking off that, the whole, like, Ghostbusters logo appearing multiple times... kind of forced. I do like the first one where it's the guy, stop fucking painting on the wall. Dude, really? And
that segment went a little too long, but it was
pretty funny. Yeah,
while it was happening. Not just the logo, but the theme song. The theme song. Like the logo, it's just, they bank on it too much. Like, from the onset of the movie, we are getting that theme song. From like the first minute or so in, we have the theme song already playing, and not like, again, I like the reduxes here and there, but like the fact that we don't even get like a redux in the beginning of the movie, we get the flat out original theme.
I'm contemplating committing suicide due to Fall Out Boy.
They milk it throughout the
They do one
movie.
really good one when she's in the Ecto-1 and she's heading towards the location.
Yeah,
you have
like,
that pounding, pulsing version of the theme.
It's
very heavy.
It's a darker, ominous version of the theme. That's a redux, and I like a redux.
And it fit the situation. Unlike the Fall Out Boy one, which was just, hey, what's popular today? Fall Out Boy. There was people wasted in this movie, like Matt Walsh, who played the two people who... Cecily Strong, one of the best recent cast members on SNL, plays like this governmental... Which, by the way, I like this whole plot of the government literally... Yeah, you're literally going to be open, you're going to be doing stuff, and we're going to... Behind the scenes, we're going to help you out, but, like, when it comes to public eye, fuck you, we have nothing to do with you. That's really clever. That's really smart. That seems like a real government thing to do. The things this movie brings that are new... Some of them are really cool. Kate McKinnon's stuff that she creates throughout the movie, the chipper, the grenades, great additions to the actual materials we have to work with. I like that.
You know, they referenced a Warner Brothers movie and a Sony movie.
Did they? What did they reference?
Jaws.
Oh my God, she did have a Jaws line.
Don't you ever refer to me as the mayor from Jaws.
Ever!
That took way too long.
That was fucking amazing. I do want to say the camera work in this movie is really great. Like, really great.
And the effects aren't as bad as I initially had it out for them.
Look, I'm gonna say this was an actual evolution as far as effects in Ghostbusters. The first one didn't look that great.
It's the 70s, what are you gonna fucking do?
No, right, I'm not blaming it, but I'm saying this actually did manage to elevate the look of ghosts. It managed to make it seem tangible, yet weird, yet not on this plane, but at the same time, the way that slime leaves back when something goes through a wall. The script leak. The script leak came out. I read it. Paul Feig apparently did this whole thing in New York City where there's this organized dance routine, and it's just like, how do I put this? It just seems like such a very Paul Feig thing to do. It felt like it wouldn't fit in the movie, and I want to say intelligently they did cut it out of the actual movie.
But it's so
they relegated
clear.
It to the entire...
It's so clear that they were going to
credits.
do it, though, because of the segment where he makes them all
Oh,
pose.
yeah. They all get ready to Saturday Night Fever. And then...
They put it in the credits.
And the whole time we were watching, I looked at you and I was like...
Yeah, you were like, oh no,
Please,
oh god,
please don't. Again, a waste of Matt Walsh. I'm gonna go out there, and this is just me. This is my personal opinion. I think the negative reception saved this movie to certain degrees. I think the way we reacted made them very cautious about what they put in and didn't. But we've talked enough about the movie because this is in our review, the difference between still in cinema or still in theater Saturdays and a Filmography Friday. As Filmography Friday is going to be an intense review, which we can only do when they're out. And still in cinemas are basically just us talking about them, and maybe you'll go on that, maybe you won't. That being said, I think this is a rent movie. I think that if you see this movie on cable, don't be scared to watch it because it's actually quite enjoyable, surprisingly in areas. And if you rent it for like $5, not bad. I would do it. To go and pay a full price ticket, I don't know if I personally would.
It's a movie you can watch with a group of friends when it's out.
Yeah, okay, if you're going, yeah, I can agree with that.
It's a party watch.
But it's not something you gotta always say, hey, I'm gonna go spend $11 on Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
The final thing I do want to mention, aside from that, is the end credits tie-in that, and I'm going to call it a tie-in because it literally makes it more about the original than the one we're on right now. We get a call, we see Leslie Jones, who's apparently qualified to work this type of machinery now. We don't know how long that time skip was, so fair enough, I guess. But she's working this machinery, and she hears, what the hell?
Well,
guys,
what is Zool?
What is Zool? You're your own thing. You're saying this is not tied. You have cameos, which doesn't bring you into that because the cameos aren't of other Ghostbusters and stuff. You have some references. The only thing that really dragged you into the Ghostbusters world was the Stay Puft. Then you do Zool. Now you're literally saying this is tied to it, and in the next movie, this is literally, are we redoing Zool if this gets a sequel? Surprisingly more enjoyable than you think it would be, but still ultimately not the best movie. And it doesn't do Ghostbusters justice, but again, tries to tie into it. So take that as you will, is the best way I could put that.
You know, Chris Hemsworth's character is that lovable idiot. Or, like, it's the lovable idiot to the point where even the bad guy doesn't want to hurt them. It's that kind of lovable idiot.
Yeah, see, those were fun scenes, too, where you see the bad guy like, huh, I totally should have worked out more in my life.
Totally should have worked out more in my life.
For the first time in my life,
when I was alive.
I don't have to suck it in. Yeah. There's jokes like that are really funny. But yeah, anyway.
Oh, because I'm wearing glasses, good looking.
Oh yeah, we get to the cop, that's right.
The Clark Kent joke.
The idea of Chris Hemsworth not being able to use a
phone.
phone.
The house, you know, because ghosts. What?
How does that correlate? Oh, well, in my mind, there's just an invisible ghost holding the hot dog above the house. I mean, obviously.
Do you, buddy?
I've heard critics say the chemistry was really good in this, and it is, depending on who we're talking to.
Yeah.
Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig, they've been in stuff together. They're good.
I was gonna say that Kate McKinnon fucking worked off of everybody.
I thought she worked well off of
She fucking worked off of literally everybody.
Leslie Jones really only worked well with Kate McKinnon. Like, their whole relationship. Kate McKinnon worked better with, I would say, Melissa McCarthy than she did with Kristen Wiig. Chris Hemsworth worked better with Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy than Kate McKinnon, and I don't know if that's due to the screen time being divvied up properly. I don't know if that's due to the actual playing off one another, the chemistry. I'm not entirely sure, but only certain people worked really well with other people for me. Cecily Strong was probably the one who worked most with everybody, but that's just because she always talked to them as a group, I would think. Best way to put it, you'd say, as you said it, it's probably an impressions video. Yeah, and the impressions are overall, as we said, a 6 out of 10. It's not bad.
6 is not garbage.
Put it this way, your average
garbage
movie...
is reserved for 4 and lower.
Your average movie that comes out is literally usually like a 7.
Yeah, it's good.
I'd say this rests on mediocrity and not in a bad way. I'd rather it be mediocre than shit on my childhood entirely.
It's a 6 as in, it's fun, it's good. Good enough, it's okay.
And that is coming from someone who genuinely does love Ghostbusters 1.
It's not like a 4 or 2 like Sucker Punch.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. If you can, like and subscribe.
Don't you ever compare me to the native from Jaws?
Click the arrow below, see what we're doing next week, which will be a Filmography Friday. Because we're switching these up every week. And yeah, that's pretty much all I really have.